So welcome everybody, it is Thursday night, which means it is SARCO League Racing once again. Unfortunately we don't have our cameras up this evening. We did have a little bit of a technical issue, I would call that, Ashley.
Yeah. My PlayStation decided to die early hours of this morning. Yeah, unfortunately I can't switch it on, it doesn't want to come on, so I'm not too sure what's going on, and probably down to just wear and tear and the moisture from there that's ruined the circuit boards.
So a very busy Discord chat lobby for us, and we do have Gerard who's race directing this evening while Ashley commentates off our Discord. So a big thank you to Gerard, baie dankie dat jy ons vanaand help.
Yeah, thank you Gerard, and tonight we're coming to you live from the Czech Republic, from the BRNO circuit, and I think all of us know this track from our recent South African win with Brad Binder taking his first victory in MotoGP. A very well-known circuit for the MotoGP guys, but I'm also looking forward to this evening's racing. I think if we're going to have anything from what we saw last week, I think we're in for an interesting battle this evening.
No, 100%. And I did spend a little bit of time on the track with the guys last night, and it definitely took me a little bit of a while to get that flow of the track, because it's so many different corners, and if you don't get that rhythm, you definitely are fighting yourself for some pace. There are 14 corners in total, and it is a combination of left rights coming out of your head. But it is really such a great track once you do get that rhythm going. To everyone on the stream, welcome. You've just joined us as we are getting going on the qualifying. So Richard Collins, you get dibs on the first comments of the evening. I'm sure when Daniel the War Machine Morales joins us later, I'm sure he will be a little bit disappointed. Nick is here to support Janaman. Welcome Nicky, really great to have you. And Ray from Luxembourg, he's back once again. Always great to have you with us, especially to our international viewers. And we see that it is Richard Collins who's saying good luck all, and let's get it done, Stephen. So we know exactly who he is going to be supporting this evening.
Absolutely, yeah. I did maybe 2 laps in this track, and I think the last time we rode at this track was with the Genettas, which is a lot slower compared to the Porsche Cup vehicles, and yeah, it's still a very cool track to drive around. Like you said, full of twists and turns and lots of corners, but I think it's designed for MotoGP specifically. But it's still a great circuit to race on.
Yeah, we were having quite a little bit of fun, and it's so nice to every now and again just get into the driver's seat and just understand what the guys are experiencing. And I'm sure that Janaman would be very happy that I'm not racing here this evening, because I was having lots of fun with him last night. I see Rossi's joined us as well. He said the ball's on the horn dog, qualifying with a full tank of fuel. Ross, we all know him as our Scottish international. We don't really know if that is correct, but we'll definitely ask him after the race if that was the case. And then Cam, welcome Cam. Haven't seen you in one of our streams for a while, but really good to have you back. And I suppose I better go and replace the favor and come and join you on some of your Call of the Wild.
Right, up on the screen at the moment we've got Marius. Is Marius in the 33? Because I thought there was Brandon in the 33. Okay, sorry, Brandon is right behind him. And so far nobody's been able to post a time, so it's still early days. Still 5.5 minutes left on the clock. But who's your money on this evening, Dylan? Who do you think is going to get a pole here?
So pole position, I wouldn't discredit the Horn Dog, but in me saying that is I know that Janneman spent a lot of time on this track, but just looking there at a 2:12, that's pretty decent. Johan VDV as well, he's also pretty quick, and I did see some 2:10s sneaking in there, and there we go. And as I say that, there goes Amal Jacques goes and puts in that 2:10. Look, we also mustn't discredit old Peter Brunt. He is extremely talented, and I'm sure that he just might be able to get up there as well. And there we go. So there's Peter Brunt, 11 dead. So very close up front there already.
Absolutely. And we saw last week he made that early pit stop and a different strategy to everyone else. Do you think, I wonder if he's going to be doing the same this evening? I wonder if the guys are going to be pitting early to get the pit stops out the way, and just concentrate on the rest of the race. We have seen a couple of guys when they do come in the pits, it kind of like interrupts the flow, and we do see mistakes happening shortly after sort of the pit stop period. I'm looking forward to seeing what are the strategies tonight for the pit stops.
So generally for me is I like to put in as long a stint as possible, and that's just in case you do pick up some trouble, that you do have that pit in hand, get into the pit, repair some of that damage, but also it also helps you get into that rhythm without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean 40 minutes is not quite long enough to make a tyre change. We know these Porsches are not too heavy on the tyres compared to the other formulas that we have driven in the past. So the guys generally won't be changing tyres. Maybe there'll be one or two guys taking a chance, but in general, nobody really changes tyres. And well, we see Steven, and I'm not sure who that is, if it's Papa Whiskey. Both having a bit of a tussle in the qualifying, and that's not really what you want to do during qualifying because you tend to lose time.
No, so Papa Whiskey's actually ahead because in shot is Steven, so that is Jared who's behind him.
Oh, my apologies.
Just remember, guys, we are seeing this all live, and sometimes we do not pick it up as we would like. So apologies there. But that's the beauty about live racing, isn't that, Ashley?
Absolutely. You win some, you lose some. Still up in pole position at the moment, we have Jock, and he's on a flyer. He doesn't look like he improved his last lap time, but Peter Brunt has moved up to second position and only 1/10 off Mel Jock's time there. So a good lap there. But he still has 2 minutes left on the clock, and let's not forget, so we got the Horn Dog in third position, and we know that he's pretty quick and pretty good with the Porsche.
Yeah, he definitely has found a nice rhythm in this Porsche. But there we go, currently in shot, that is Peter Brunt. He is second on the starting grid this evening. And all we hope is that the guys up in front have an absolute crack of the race. But let's look at the top 7 drivers are separated by less than 1 second.
Yeah, that is fantastic. That is really good to see. It shows you how competitive this privateer has become. And with only a couple of races left on the calendar, I know that the Horn Dog is still way ahead in terms of points, but I think for second place we're going to have a tough battle right to the end of the season.
Yeah, so we do know that the first place is probably just about secured, but that does not mean that the other positions are. So the guys are still going to be fighting very, very hard there. Just checking up on the Facebook page, I got a comment from Maria Rodriguez saying, Dylan, your Afrikaans accent is terrible. I've never said that I am Afrikaans. Thank you very much, mother. Appreciate the comment.
Dylan, for the record, I think your Afrikaans accent is delicious.
Baie dankie, nee. And we do have Gerard, who's probably listening, just cringing, saying, what are these oaks talking about? So sorry, Gerard. Apologies.
Well, we're the final seconds of this qualifying session, and Meljark still in front with a 2-minute 10.5, followed closely by Peter Brunt. And I see Meljark has finished his qualifying session, so it's just Peter Brunt that's left on the track there. And as I say that, the Horn Dog posts a 2-minute 10.3. So goes 2/10 quicker than Meljark there. So a good time there by him, and Peter Brunt looks like he will take no further part in this qualifying session. Let's see what Johan Foot Fiery Janneman does.
What a crazy lap.
Under a 10th quicker, so 7/100ths of a second, call it 800ths of a second, and that puts him into pole position. So wow. But if you could just jump to the Horn Dog, he's still on a flying lap. And I wonder if he crossed the line in time to do another flyer, because it doesn't look like he's...
Yeah, so he definitely isn't in the pits yet. So there's Andrew Ambrosioni, so he's down in 11th place, so he still will have time to cross the line. And we've got Craig Thompson saying, just watch out from Stephen and Foot Fiery. That was a CT Autosport setup that the guys are using.
Of course, I could definitely see the difference in the handling. I should have known it was a Craig setup.
You see Jared, he's now retired, gone off the track there. Reeve, that's it, that's the end of qualifying. So 16 drivers entered, and an absolute crack of a qualifying. Did not expect Janneman, but that is a superb performance. And just skimming down the order, you can just see how close it is. The first 4 drivers separated by less than 0.4 of a second. This is going to be an absolute crack of a race.
And if you're wondering if Janneman comes from the UK, I can confirm that he definitely doesn't.
No, not at all.
Especially with that name, Janneman. I don't know what his surname, but it doesn't... I have a feeling that it's not English. And the same too with Brandon Santos. And Terry. Well, Terry could be Portuguese. We're not sure.
So guys, just remember the guys will be getting into a rolling start, the formation lap. And we are down to 15 drivers, and it looks like we've lost Jared.
I know Jared has been experiencing some intermittent internet issues, so that's unfortunate that he won't be able to join us this evening. But 15 drivers is pretty good.
So Jared, if you are watching, go get some practice in your GT3 and go and join the guys in the Alpha tier. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to get additional drivers there. So we're just waiting for the sync up to happen. There's a 2-minute holding lobby where the guys have time to get their setups loaded, make sure that their pit strategies are engaged, and once they've all readied up, before that allotted 2 minutes, we will be racing.
Lights out and away we go, and good start there.
No, it's formation lap,
On the
formation
warm-up
lap, formation lap, formation lap.
I was just checking you there.
No, listen, I've made that mistake way too many times. Thank you. So that exit out of turn number 1 into turn number 2, where you're seeing the drivers now, it is so tricky because you can see how that whole section just tightens up on you. And you've got to get that exit just right, because of the straight leading into turn number 3 where the guys are going through now is a little bit longer than you actually want it to be. So if you do get that exit wrong, man oh man, are you looking for pace there.
Yeah, you definitely going to be battling with the guys, getting your slipstream. And this track is nice and wide. You can see that, I mean, this is like almost like a highway that they're riding on. So there's plenty of room for overtaking.
So this is definitely one of my favorite sections. This is now dropping a little bit down the hill through turn 6, then into turn number 7. Then you got this little straight which then goes back into turn number 8 and then turns back on itself, and then a right-hander into turn number 9. So lots and lots of left and right combinations. Then you're going to head back down the hill towards turn number 10, and that's when you start making it all the way back up the hill.
Yeah, this as you come through this section here, this is also one of those corners that you have to make sure that you get right, because when you get to this chicane here, it's a tricky flick to the left and then right again, and if you're not in a good position, you can lose a lot of time exiting the chicane,
especially going up this hill. And then you have another left-right chicane, which is turn 13 and 14. And for me, I like to keep turn number 13 nice and tight and stay as far left as possible. And from there, it's flat out all the way through turn number 14. Just want to miss the inside tires, and it generally just helps you take that line on the inside.
So I just hope that the One Dog's backed up this field a bit, and I don't think he has. But anyway, there you go.
So we are racing now, heading towards turn number 1, and they're going to be 3 wide and a little jump up the inside. Oh, that's Peter Brunt going a little bit wide, but now they're going to be 3 wide coming into turn number 2. That is Peter Brunt on the inside now, and on the outside that is the Horn Dog in second place, and a third is Janneman. So a great drive there from Peter Brunt coming off the line there. Not too sure whether what we saw was just a little bit of a glitch, or whether there was that contact which could have quite possibly have slowed up Andrew Horn on that start. But I'm not seeing...
Just a very strange start there that Janneman just basically braked just before the line and caused a bit of a Constantino effect, similar to what we saw in Formula 1 at the Italian Grand Prix not so long ago. But Peter Brunt having a fantastic start there, now into first position, and he has the Horn Dog right behind him, chasing him hard.
I see Marshall moved up to 4th place, so he's been able to get himself ahead of It's Brandon who goes and sneaks up on the inside there. Oh, and a little spin in the background there. Let's just see who's dropping down the order. Well, 2 cars up against each other.
Marshall.
So that was Marshall, and it looks like it was Johan who lost the rear there. Oh, there's another driver in the middle of the track, but I see he is keeping still and allowing the cars to get around him.
That's Andrew, looks like that's who's spun around, and unfortunately he's disconnected. So he won't take any part in this race. And just behind Reeve there, is that Terry?
So Terry's currently down in 12th place, but that's side by side. Peter Brunt and Andrew Horn around the outside are going into... There's an absolute fantastic maneuver there that's going into turn number 13 around the outside. Oh, there's a little dive into the pits there for Peter Brunt. So we'll definitely take note of that.
And that's exactly what we saw in the last race. He did early pit stop just to get out the traffic because we know he was fighting with the horn dog there. The horn dog did manage to get past him, but he's driven straight into the pits now, and he'll do his pit stop, get that out of the way. And I see Terry has jumped in the pits as well.
So I must say, even though we've had a few little spins, it has been pretty tidy. It wasn't like there was anyone bunching and pushing each other off. It looked like it was just a few little mistakes, and that unfortunately impacted on other drivers behind them. But we still have 14 drivers that are currently racing here this evening. So the horn dog now 1 second up ahead.
And yeah, I'm just looking at Dylan. He's not putting up too much of a gap on Janneman. So Janneman still within a fighting chance here. He just has to keep behind the horn dog. We know the horn dog is very consistent and smooth in most of the races that we've seen so far. And it's now up to Janneman just to follow him around and take notes of where he's quicker and slower around the circuit. Noel Jacques there in 5th position, and he's caught between Marius and Reeve. Reeve goes slightly wide in the background, but that works out pretty well for him. And I'm just looking there. It looks like Marius and Brandon for some reason got the same delivery and number. Is that correct, Dylan?
So they should be taking the second one, but honestly it isn't too much of a train smash. Is that we are able to just check it up on the names, and what generally does happen is that the guys will miss one here and there, as we now get Marius going into the pits, so we have made note of that. And if the guys originally had chosen their livery in the Charlie tier, another driver just breaking off in the background there, so we will get that little notification up. But we've got Dane, who's trying to make a move on the inside here of Stefan, and Stefan runs just a little bit wider. If Dane can just tighten up that line, you should be able to exit from now, and then you would be able to carry all that speed out.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a slipstream here behind the driver in front of him. But good defensive line there from Papa Whiskey.
So Dane must just be patient. Just try and see in which parts of the track that he is quicker than Stefan, and he will be able to make quite an easy overtake. So you can see side by side. Could this be the opportunity? Dane decides rather to let him go. So Papa Whiskey does go a little bit wide. And it is quite a tricky little section here to try and make an overtake, because we have the two double right-handers. And now that's Johan is he's not joined this party. He's gone a little bit wide going into turn number 7, but now they'll head down into turn 8, and there is a combination of a left and right then left. So there is opportunity to just tighten up that line, get onto the inside, and then hopefully be able to make that pass stick. So just checking some of the comments. I see that Christo, he's joined us saying good luck gents, and he's cheering for Gome team as Sim Stuff Racing. So he cheering for currently the driver in 2nd place, and Johan in 9th place. So good to see some team support there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the times on that last lap. The horn dog doing a 1:11.3, and only actually a 10th quicker was Janneman on that previous lap. So he's now pushing hard, and he's broken that 1 second gap down to well, it's just gone up to a second now again. But keeping the horn dog honest, and that setup from CT Auto is working pretty well.
So what is going on there? A little side by side action there. Will Dane be able to get up on the inside? They are extremely close, little touching up against each other. Looks like Dane has just come off the power and allowed him to go through. And Johan, he's been able to get past this little battle without any issues.
So yeah, it's a bit of a comical error we saw there, but thank goodness these are not heavy or very massive posts on the side of the track there. I think they just made a styrofoam or something like that. So no damage to the vehicle, and he's able to carry on.
So Reeve is having quite an interesting battle. He's still trying to trace down Brandon. So Reeve in 6th place, Brandon in 5th. And just ahead, this is the battle for 4th and 3rd place, and it is Moljak trying to chase down Tyler Scott. Half a second between those two drivers, so definitely going to have some sort of battle happening here as well.
Just looking down in the field, and Peter Brunt has moved up to 9th position. We know that he made that early pit stop, and he's now chasing hard on a different strategy to the rest of the guys at the moment. The leader, should I say. But let's see what he can do.
So really good to see. We know that Reeve has had endless issues with being caught up in that middle pack, and in some of those crashes, Reeve has been on the receiving end of that. So here we see him nice in 6th place, and got himself a little bit of a battle. So really good to see.
I'm just wondering if Peter Brunt's strategy is actually going to pay off here, because he's caught in some heavy traffic. You can see he's now catching Dane, and we know that Dane and Papa Whiskey were fighting fairly hard, and he's now right behind Dane, and will soon be catching Johan. But out in front at the moment we have Janneman still chasing the Horn Dog, and just keeping him in sight, not letting him get away. So a good battle still carrying on here for battle first.
And I think with Janneman being able to get him within that 1 second time difference, that's part of that psychological game that he's sure starting to get the advantage of, because once you're over that 1 second there's still time, but as soon as you're within that 1 second, that's when you start feeling that pressure. So Janneman just needs to take it nice and easy. I spent a good couple of laps chasing down Janneman, and I just hope that the lesson for free he got yesterday, he is able to apply it here.
Absolutely, and in shot at the moment we've got Tyler giving Moljak a bit of a run for his money as well. This is the battle for 3rd position, and I'm not
so
sure
it's actually Moljak actually went past Tyler.
Okay.
So that is now Jacques moving himself up into 3rd place and starting to create a little gap between himself and Tyler. You can see that now just over half a second. So we now jump to Brandon Dos Santos, and he's got Reeve in front of him. So Reeve, he too has been able to get up a place. He was in 6th position, and it's now Reeve in 5th with Brandon Dos Santos down in 6th trying to fight back.
That's right, and I just see that Peter Brunt has moved up to 8th position now. So your next person up ahead of him will be Johan. We know Johan is not the easiest guy to get past. So one thing to catch him and another thing to pass him, that's going to be the theme for him this evening. But he still has 6 seconds to catch Johan.
So I was looking at the lap times, and on the previous lap Peter Brunt was in the 2:11s, so he was doing the same lap times as our current race leader. And that's what Peter Brunt would need, specifically if he's down in the order, trying to fight back, having already taken the pits. The other thing we have to just be aware of is how short the pit strategy or the pit lane is here. Is 22 seconds enough for Andrew to hold that lead?
Yeah, and we've got 25 minutes left on the clock still. So I think within the next 5 minutes or so, we'll see the front leaders coming through for their pit stops. I'm sure they want to. I'm sure they want to build up a bit of a gap first before they do pit stops. We might see a little bit longer stint, because the guys will be definitely watching those times and making sure that when they come out, they get a bit of a gap and not stuck in traffic.
So that is the battle for first and second, and Andrew Horn now just over 1 second ahead of Janneman down in second place. And I'm sure Janneman's going to be trying very hard to just match what Andrew does in terms of his pit strategy, because you do not want to lose touch of that driver in front of you.
Absolutely. I think if I was Janneman, I'll do an extra lap, or maybe go in the pits a little bit earlier. But he still has Jock in the background there, and Jock, as we know, he overtook Tyler for that third position. He's not far behind.
So now Reeve is starting to close. Ooh, Tyler, a little bit of a braking through the mid phase of that corner. Not something that you should be doing there. You should have been able to get that car turned in. Once it's turned in and you find your grip and that exit, that's where you should be accelerating all the way through.
Absolutely, just getting it, maybe just up-braking himself in that first corner, losing his braking spot, and that caused him to go a bit wide.
So just checking up on Facebook once again, and I see my mother is still there, asking if I'm driving. No, mother, unfortunately I'm not. I see my brothers here, so a full family affair here this evening. Thank you very much to my family. Then Carl Lawrence, awesome coverage, guys. Carl, how are you doing, dude? I hope you're well. And as we say that, check who's joined us in the commentary box, Ashley. Carl, so if your mic is on and you'd like to come and say how's it, feel free to say how's it. So yeah, thanks for watching, dude. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing.
How's it, Carl? So epic battle here in front. We've got for is it 9th position? We have Peter Brunt. We have Steven, and we're having a bit of a battle here with
that's
Dane.
With Dane, yeah. So Steven did make that move fairly easy, but Dane's going to hold his line. Oh, a little bit of not enough braking there for Dane, so that's allowed the door to be opened once again for Steven. So Dane back down to 9th place.
A good battle between these two, giving each other enough space, and Dane just outbraked himself there, and that allowed for Steven to get past again. But now Steven with a better exit at the last corner, and it seems to have opened up a little bit of a breather between himself.
So now this is Marshall fighting there for 12th place. He's now going to be going through the last corner now. Will he be able to tighten up, get behind Stefan, get a bit of a tow down into turn number 1? And just ahead there, you can see that is Peter Brunt, 1:11.5. So he is currently the fastest on the track. Very defensive line there for Stefan, but that should allow a later entry. But it looked like Marshall would rather have just followed the line. A little kick of the rear there for Stefan as he exits and goes through turn number 2.
Yeah, Peter Brunt, he's moved up to 7th, but he's still behind Johan. You can see Johan is also doing very similar pace to the leaders up in front. So
the one thing that I'm looking at, Ash, is that Peter Brunt is now just under that 22-second deficit that we saw earlier. So he has been able to close that up. and all depends on how long it takes for the drivers to go into the pits. Ooh, I thought that Stefan would just close the door, but he did leave enough space there. But now this is the tricky section now, cutting back into turn number 7. You just got to be patient before you get that power on. So Marshall still not able to find a way through here. You can see Marshall taking a later entry, and that's what you needed to do. Now you should be able to just sneak up on the inside. But great exit there for Stefan. Good awareness there for him. And just in front of Stefan, that is Peter Brunt. You can see 2:11.5. So he is currently the fastest on track at the moment. So I'll head back up the hill now into turn number 11. So just want to commend our cameraman, Gerard. You're doing an absolute sterling job here. Thank you so much for finding all this great action. Now Marshall in the slipstream, he's going to look to go to the outside, which might not be a bad... okay, so that looked like it was a little bit of left and right moving. Ooh, just managing to stop that nose being taken off, but Marshall should be able to just touch on the inside.
Wow. Wow, that's some close racing, and a good battle between Marshall and Stefan here. And that's actually Brandon just ahead of them at the moment, and he'll be looking in his rear view mirrors and watching this battle, I'm sure, because it's a pretty amazing one to watch at the moment.
So now there we go, side by side. Marshall was able to get on the wider line. But now, while they're rubbing up against each other, that I don't understand. Now, into turn number 3, Marshall and Stefan are side by side.
So Marshall manages to get past there with a few scratches and bruises, but he'll be just relieved to
No, Stefan, that's not part of what the plan is. So he'll definitely be visiting the stewards after that.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, and as I was saying that, I was just wondering if Marshall was probably looking in his mirrors watching what Stefan was going to do, but nevertheless, unfortunately these things happen. But moving to the front of the field, we've got a Horn Dog 90. He's opened up a commanding lead of almost 2.5 seconds. So he's settled down nicely. And Janneman on that previous lap of 2 minute 13. So he obviously made a mistake somewhere and then he's lost a bit of time. But if you look at Peter Brunt's time, it's still in the 2 minute 11. So as you're saying, Dylan, he's brought that gap right down to 20 seconds, still behind Johan though, and we know that Johan has also gone into the pits. I'm sure he's going to the pits. Can you just check there for us, Dylan?
So I don't have Johan having pitted, because you can see that he is currently on the same time as Tyler, because Johan was falling further down the field, and where those.
Johan had a bit of a incident in the early parts of the race, and I'm pretty sure that I did see him in the pits, but if not, you probably still need to do a pit stop, and we can see him in shot at the moment, and we should see Peter Brunt closing up on him.
So there's Peter in the background there. 2.5 seconds is the gap there, and it looks like Andrew has a commanding lead. That's now 3.5 seconds. So Janneman starting to make a few mistakes. This is when he should get himself into the pits. 15 minutes to go. Just take that time, just reset, and then get himself back on the track.
Yeah, I think he's probably just pushing a little bit too hard now, trying to close that gap after maybe making a little mistake somewhere, and it's actually costing him more.
So I see that Brandon Hills, he has joined us, and say Boot's back. That's fantastic to see. And just remember, Brandon, that my dad was the fastest heels on the planet. Peter Hardeman, he's also here saying, how's it? Good luck, everyone. We're looking forward to seeing you racing later, Peter, as well as Brandon. Looking forward to go. And then Tiens Van Dijk is saying, let's go, Johan VDV. So Johan doing a very good job moving himself up into 5th place. But according to my records here is that we do still need to see him pit.
So now we see Johan on the back of Tyler, and we know Tyler's been struggling in this first section of the track. We've seen him go wide a couple of times in that first corner, just missing his braking spot. But it looked like on that occasion it was much better. But Johan closing that gap ever so slightly, and that's Dane now coming into the pits for his scheduled pit stop. We see Marius and Brandon.
Just looking at that, it does look like they are teammates.
They are teammates. Almost twins.
And both in the Brad Binder numbers.
Yep, well, they probably thought it would be very lucky to run the 33 this evening. And I believe Brandon is a big fan of Brad. So it looks like Morris is probably one too. So we drive on board here with the horn dog, and I wonder if you'll be looking at the time, and maybe this is the time to go into the pits. And as he comes to the last couple of corners, 13 and 14.
Yeah, you can see nice and tight on the inside there, and that's it. Get that car straightened up. Get that pedal down. No, so one more lap here for Andrew.
And he increased that gap to 5.5 seconds now, so I think Janneman's made a big mistake because that time has shot up now to 7 to 8.
Oh, he's gone into the pits. That now answers all those questions.
Right. And so is Maljark. So both those guys pitting. They now drop down to the field, and that allows for Peter Brunt to move through into 3rd position.
And there goes Johan. He is now into the pits as well.
Absolutely so. I wonder if the horn dog will be looking at those times and wondering now's the time to push, because on their previous lap he was a second slower than Peter Brunt. So Peter Brunt, even though he was fighting through the traffic, has put himself in a very good position here at the moment.
So that's Peter. We can see this roof shot chasing down Tyler. And you can just see how tricky this corner is. It kind of tightens up on you, but then not only that, it's off on a negative camber. Is it a positive camber? Reverse camber. The corner falls away from you. It is quite tricky down there.
It's positively negative if you go off there. That's for sure.
That is correct. Great use of the brakes there by Peter Brandt.
So
I actually got a fight
like crazy because, but I think Tyler still needs to make a pit stop, and this will just be holding up. And this is one of the things that I was worried about doing an early pit stop, is getting put behind a.
Well, technically they're still fighting for position there. So there we go.
Fighting.
So now Tyler should have the inside, so Peter will have to let him through. But now he can go around the outside here for turn number 11, and that's great a line there through turn 12. So Peter Brunt is now will have the inside through turn 12. I don't think Tyler will be able to come back, or will he? Tyler's going to have a look, so they're are going to go too wide. No,
oh no!
Tyler!
Come on, Peter, get it going again. And that was unfortunate. But they were racing for position, so fair is fair.
So So big mistake there,
Peter
unfortunately.
Brunt there.
Yeah.
And that's dropped him 7 seconds from the leader, the Horn Dog. So that's most unfortunate and be most frustrated. But I mean, then again, Dylan, that's what I was saying earlier, getting stuck behind traffic after making a fairly early pit stop. I mean, he was technically leading in the race in the first couple of laps. Going into the pits early, and this is basically the direct result of that, is that he's had to fight his way through the field, and inevitably you will get some sort of held up, or even a possibility of an incident, and that's exactly what we saw there. But it's with still 10 minutes left on the clock, 9 minutes now, and the Horn Dog not pitting. Let's see what Peter can do.
Yeah, so he's going to have Janneman, who's in shot. So he's right behind. So technically these guys are now fighting for second and third. But it all depends on, in the background we can see that's Maljak, whether he can get closer as Peter Brunt loses the rear. Oh my gosh.
That's unfortunate. That is not what you want to see. Janneman, unfortunately, going straight into the side of Peter Brunt as Peter Brunt gets a little bit sideways, and that's allowed for Jark now to move up to third position, with Tyler still needing to do a pit stop. And I wonder if Peter Brunt has now picked up some damage. I saw Janneman may have had some serious damage, but that's really mixed up.
No, there's Janneman. You can see that he's got lots of damage there. So he's already got Johan, who's in the 6th place, moved up ahead of him, and next in line is Reeve, who's currently in 8th. So he should be able to make easy work of Janneman. That damage on the front of that car.
Yeah, you can see it's really hampering his abilities to turn through the tricky corners, and looks like he's lost straight line speed as well.
So Tyler Scott into the pits, and so is Peter Brunt. So he obviously had a lot of damage, so he's had to go and get that damage repaired. So he's now dropping down into 11th place, but you can see how congested it is here in the middle. So that's from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th place. That is 5 seconds separating all these drivers.
Absolutely. So it just shows you how those pit stops, just spice it up towards the end of the race. We see that Brandon taking a very tight line there, trying to avoid.
Ooh, someone's hit that curb on the outside, so that's Janneman, and he's now dropping down. So Tyler's able to get ahead of Janneman as well as Brandon. But now with what's happened, that's Reeve who's up ahead, and Reeve's up into 5th place.
Yep. We still haven't seen the Horn Dog making a pit stop yet. So I wonder if he'll be doing it in the next couple. He's only got 6 minutes left.
So I'm pretty sure he knows, because according to my records, he is the only one who hasn't pitted.
He's leaving it quite late, and he's only got a 30 odd second advantage at the moment, so he has to...
There we go. See, speak of the devil and the devil will find you.
Absolutely. Let's hope that he has an incident-free pit stop, because Maljak, as I mentioned, is only at 36 seconds down the road. This is Tyler now fighting for 6th position, and he looks like he's managed to get past Brandon there.
It sounded like Brandon just let him go through. Ooh, a little clip of the tires there.
Some extra tires on the track.
So we can see that lots of tires on the track now. So we see that the Horn Dog has rejoined the track, so 15 seconds ahead. So that pit stop wasn't very long at all.
That was a good pit stop. So but that's roughly what you worked out at just over 20 seconds. We know that Maljark was 36 seconds behind him.
So it's a Marshall going onto the inside, and he looks like he's just been able to hold that line nice and tight there. So Daniel Morales, he is back. Daniel, you definitely did not get dibs on the first comment, but good to see that you're up and happening. A little look to the inside. That was Marius getting himself ahead of Janneman. So unfortunately, Janneman was out in front. Yeah, a little catch of the rear that let go, or the rear let go of Peter Brunt's car. Janneman had nowhere to go and landed up putting that car right into Peter Brunt's car. So that's Brandon looks to have got himself a little bit stuck on the outside there. So that is going to allow Janneman to get himself up into 9th place.
So I see Peter Brunt has rejoined the track, but he's way down in 12th position at the moment. Interesting enough, Johan still posting the quickest time with a 2 minutes 11 seconds, and he's in 3rd position. He'll be chasing down Maljark. So with 3 minutes left in the clock, will we see some sort of battle? Yeah, he's still got 5 seconds to close that gap, but we have seen stranger things this evening.
The other thing that is still in the mix is that Steven is only 2 seconds behind Johan. So a little mistake in the next 2 laps, and Johan is going to see Steven in his rearview mirror.
Absolutely. So Gerard, if you could just jump through to that battle for 3rd and 4th as well. Tyler having a good race here with. I just want to see that gap.
So there's Steven in the background. So yeah, it's just over 2 seconds. So you can see 2.5 seconds now.
But we know Jock has got plenty of experience. We know he's he's been around for a while too. So you'll notice that that gap is slowly coming down between himself and Johan, and I'm sure he'll be maybe turning up the loud pedal a bit, just to try keep that gap on us, so that he can hold on to this podium position, 2nd place. So
there's definitely something wrong on the right hand side. There was a driver just slowing down.
Peter Brunt. It looked like Peter Brunt. I think he's had enough. I think he's feeling very disheartened at the moment after that very good start, and it looked like he was on for the podium position, but unfortunately with that small incident has cost him and put him right at the back of the field.
And there are just cars all over the place.
Maybe he's just waiting for Tyler's car pass so he can throw his bumper at him.
Easy. It is not something we do here at SARCO.
Absolutely not. I was just referring to the karting world championship that watched recently, where one of the drivers decided that he had enough of one of his fellow drivers and threw a bumper in. But as you mentioned, Dylan, that's not what we do here at SARCO, because unfortunately we can't take our bumpers off.
And I did see a very interesting meme about that specific incident, and you got the FIA, you got all the endurance series, all the sim world are going, what is this oak doing? Ban him for life.
Yeah, shame. Yeah, it's not something I would want to see in racing. I mean, that could have been absolutely fatal what the guy did there, throwing a piece of object in line of one of his fellow drivers, and not even hitting the driver that he was aiming for. Somebody who was completely innocent. But yeah, we'll let the FIA sort that out. That's got nothing to do with us, really.
So the time is completely done. This will be the last couple of corners that the race leader, currently in shot, Andrew Horn, will need to get himself through. And the top three are currently Andrew Horn, then it is Mal Jacques, Johan, Stephen, Reeve. A great drive there for Reeve, managing to keep himself out of some trouble there. Marshall, 2 seconds, or just 1.5 seconds between himself and Reeve. So Andrew Horn crosses the line in first place. An absolute great drive there for him.
Yeah, he definitely made that look easy with and well, he's lucky in some aspects. I think we would have seen a good battle between him and Peter Brunt if it hadn't been for that unfortunate. And then we see Johan crossing the line in his signature style, throwing it into the wall. And wow, close battle here.
That's Reeve just about getting ahead of Stephen, and then it goes Stephen, Marshall, Reeve. Reeve unfortunately has a time penalty, so that has cost him some places. And then
he just picked up that penalty actually on the last corner there. He cut the corner, and unfortunately he got a penalty, so that's dropped him down to 6th position.
Well, I'm sure he'll still be happy with that in the end. But a great drive there for Reeve, nevertheless. Extremely tough in that midsection, that's for sure. And here we have Dane currently in 10th place, so he'll be looking to get whoa, there was nearly some tyre action there for him. Sorry. So we're on board with Brandon De Santos. He'll be coming up through turn number 12. Apologies, coming up through turn number 12. Now turn number 13. Then into the last corner for the last time. And there we have it. The final positions. Andrew Horn, he will win this evening with Mal Jacques in 2nd place. Johan is in 3rd. Stephen 4th. Marshall in 5th place. Reeve 6th. Marius 7th. Janeman down in 8th place. I'm sure disappointed with that. But unfortunately a racing incident. Nowhere for him to go. Tyler finishes in 9th with Dane in 10th. Brandon 11th. Stefan in 12th place, Peter Brunt, I'm sure absolutely gutted, down in 13, and Terry in 14th position. So thank you very much, guys. We're just going to be jumping into the a new tier. Oh, realize that I got to continue that lobby.
It's all good. So it's not what I want.
So thank you, Gerard, very much for helping us out there.
Yeah, many thanks, Gerard. Good luck for your race.
Enjoy, guys.
Thank you, Gerard.
And the corn dog.
What are you doing?
Diggity dog.
Okay, good day, boys.
How's it, guys? I'm clashing with Connor.
Connor. In and out.
Thank you, Connor. So I'll need you here just to accept this, but I'll need you to talk to me through Discord. Unless, Ashley, are you going to stick around and help for the Alpha tier?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So Andrew, you can come and join us and we'll have a through a horse in our Discord. Fantastic.
Maybe struggling now. Who from the Bravo tier is gonna rise? Me. Who's me?
Steven.
Oh, Stefanzi.
Yeah, I'm here.
And Brandon also. Brandon Santos.
Rip to you in that race, Biggie.
Connor is going.
Connor, can you hear me? There we go.
There we go. Nice, Connor. But the Honda is not gonna rise. Boys.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ready.
Yeah, let's get cracking.
Hey, Jock.
Let's go.
How's it, Ash? How's it, Jock?
Is it?
Right, guys, so while we get the Alpha tier starting in the background, let's just chat to our Bravo tier drivers. We don't have Johan, we have invited him into the Discord. So let's just see whether he does join us. But let's go to you, Jacques, second place for you. A little bit of an interesting result at the end there, a crash between Janneman and Peter Brandt, and it allowed you to move yourself up the order. I'm sure the sound will come through now. Sorry, Jacques, we're not hearing you yet.
He's got a bit of delay on his 2 meg.
Okay, Jacques, can you hear us now? Okay. Okay, you can hear us, but we unfortunately can't hear you. So yeah, 100%, completely. I agree.
Yeah, Jacques needs to learn sign language.
Oof, that was loud in my ear. All right, let's go to third place. Johan, a good race there for you.
Yeah, it was intense. I was involved in a bit of a rubbing session and ended up in 14th place.
But happy with your result in the end?
Yeah, it was consistent racing, I suppose. Managed the tires quite well, and the car got me through it. So yeah, I'm super happy. I'm very excited considering that I'm lying third overall, I think, on the championship. That was a great finish for me.
No, 100%, really great drive there for you. And let's go to you, Andrew. You had Janneman chasing you down for just about the first 30 minutes or so. And then, unfortunately, just in terms of Peter Brandt, his pit strategy was absolutely spot on. And we had actually pegged him possibly ending out coming ahead of you when you had pitted.
Dill, if that's so, I'm unaware of it. I was just trying to stay consistent and open the gap up. Janneman had me stressing there big time. I could see he wasn't giving up, and slowly the gap opened up. It took a long time to get it going. Yeah, Peter Brunt is always a threat in any race, so yeah, I can believe that, but I wasn't aware of it at the time. I just thought, let's keep our head down, keep consistent, and get out of here.
No, also an absolute fantastic drive there for you, and it was very unfortunate for Peter Brunt actually losing the rear, and Janneman went straight into the back of him. No place for him to go, and that kind of just ended the race for those two. So really disappointing to see, but nevertheless a great drive, and congratulations to the podium winners.
Thank you.
Well done, guys.
Thanks.
So guys, we are back with the live racing action here in the Alpha Tier. Remember, the guys here are in the GT3s, and 11 drivers here this evening, and I do have Andrew Horn, who's going to be controlling the cameras with his mic on. So between myself, Ashley, and
Andrew.
No, it was Carl that put me off. Carl has joined us in our commentary box again. He is here. Not sure whether his mic is on, but if he is, I'm sure he will come and give us a how's it. But between myself, Ashley, and Andrew, we'll give you all the live racing commentary action here for the Alpha Tier round number 7. So there's only one more week of the series, and then we move on to something else.
How sad is that?
Yeah, and that is quite sad.
Ash, how are you feeling watching this with your broken
I'm
down
pretty sad
PlayStation?
because my PlayStation bombed out, and I was really looking forward to beating Craig again, but unfortunately it's not going to happen this evening.
Oh, sorry to hear that. That's a real bummer. It's nice to know it's not real race, just real racing cars that break down. You have breakdowns in the sim world too.
Absolutely, and I also related some of the technical issues that we have to, like a car not being able to start for some reason. We see it in Formula 1 as well. Cars weren't able to get to the track for some odd reason. So, it kind of like is simulating the whole race experience with the problems that some guys are having.
Can't push start a PlayStation, no, unfortunately.
That is a definite no.
Could always try. It'd be interesting.
So Andrew, I know we were chatting last week, saying that you definitely wanted to get yourself into one of the GT3s to give it a go. Did you find the time, or were you focusing on your GT4 performance?
To be very honest, though, I was actually focusing on some testing for the Desi 4 hours in real life.
Nice.
And trying to get a racing car to stay together for longer than about 10 minutes. So, no, I haven't focused enough on GT4 or GT3 for my PlayStation. So, yeah, tonight's win was a bit of a surprise, I'll be honest.
Yeah, man, those guys were absolutely crazy fast up front, and I couldn't believe that the top 7 drivers were within a second of each other. It's absolutely incredible.
I think those GT4s just promote such close racing. It's brilliant. Hey, they are so much fun to drive.
So just a quick check on what's happening. We've got just over 4 minutes left of the qualifying for the Alpha Tier, and Craig's currently in first place, Jake's second, Dirkie's in third, Connor in 4th place. Then we have Gavin in 5th. Brandon Hills, he's back, not racing in the real world, so he's been able to join us here this evening. Ross, our Scottish International, we found him down in 7th place. Didn't expect that. And Lendl, man oh man, did we see some fantastic driving from Lendl over the week at Pekisa in that Formula V. Got some great shots there. So he is here this evening. He's in 8th place currently. Brandon DeSantos joining us from the Bravo Tier, with Robert down in 10th place, and Stephen also joining from the Bravo Tier. He's down in 11th place.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. These guys have put in one quick lap. It'll be quite cool to see once they've done their second quick lap where everybody shakes out and how close they can get. We know these cars are a little bit more tricky to drive than the GT4s, so it might give us a bit more of a time differential.
I still honestly think that the GT3s are easier to drive, more downforce, and you're able to commit it more, whereas I do find that the GT4s understeer a little bit, but because you can really do a lot more with the setup on the GT3, I do find them easier.
You can play with the throttle a bit more on the GT4, which makes it quite a lot of fun. I think if you can use the throttle to steer the car a little bit more, whereas the GT3 you start playing those games and I think you're going to find the wrong side of the hedge quite fast. So yeah, that's my 2 cents worth, but I haven't done enough laps in a GT3 to really give you an honest appraisal.
No, 100%. And do appreciate the feedback.
See, Ross's got a penalty. Wonder if that's a lap invalidated or speeding in the pit lane or something like that.
So that's not what we're seeing on our screen. Is it a little triangle?
It's a car within a second.
That's the car. That's it.
I'll get there.
Dylan, do you mind just sharing the stream so that I can also see what's going on?
The stream is there. I promise.
Ja,
Okay.
druk die knoppie.
Just
The reason I can't see it at all, I've just seen Dylan's pretty face.
no. So you'll see that there are other pictures. Just push the one that's got the cars on.
No,
Is it working?
it doesn't. I think I'll just have to leave and come back.
Jakes has just put in an absolute bomber of a lap. He's only 8/100ths off Craig.
Oof, you can see how that rear just stepped out as Jake's got himself set up into turn number 1. And that's the runoff I was talking about. You can see how close he got setting himself up for turn number 2. And you've got to just be so patient there going through turn number 1, because that corner feels like it goes on forever. And your first instinct is to get that power on, but you've got to have gone past halfway before you start accelerating.
Yeah, and there's very little margin for error there. I think half a wheel off that curve and it's a slowdown penalty or a lap invalidated, which is not so good.
I think in the practice that we did, Terry landed up doing that, and he got himself a 30-second penalty.
Really, that's a long penalty, my word.
So guys, just keep it on the track and keep it away from that runoff. It is there to catch you out.
We're all waiting to see if Jakes can go a little bit quicker. Craig just had an invalidated lap and has gone back to the pits. I think that's him done for quali, because I don't think there's enough time with this long lap to get around again.
And check out that Connor, our youngster, in 3rd place overall, so 0.6 off Craig's time. So it looks like they have been spending some time together. And then Dirkie down in 4th place, and we do know that Dirkie would be mixing it up with Ash. Definitely a little rivalry that we've seen happen between the two of them over the last couple of races. Gavin, he's still on track, so he might still be able to find some extra pace. Ross, he won't be able to improve, nor will Elendil, but we do have Brandon, Robert and Sly Pete still needing to put on a lap.
Yeah, Jake's not able to go quicker.
Well, he
Gavin's
did.
had a
Look,
spin.
Jakes did go quicker. He's now
So he
0.07. So he managed to find 0.01 of a second there.
That's going to frustrate him for sure. See, Sly Pete's left. That's a pity.
No,
Pete had a lack of practice.
So he is back in. So he would be 11th, because I can see just on my screen we've got the little taskbar, which is going to show that there are 10 drivers. So I think he might have just exited by accident, but there we do see him in the background. And just
good.
remember that these guys will be doing a rolling start. So they will get themselves into formation lap. And man, oh man, that grid off the start in the Bravo tier was extremely congested.
It was. I think Janneman caught us a bit by surprise when he was leading the across the line, because he decided to brake as we were getting to the line, and when he started counting us down, and we almost had a Formula One situation where everyone piled into the back of everyone else. It was a bit crazy there at the start, but we got through it.
Well, so actually, we wasn't sure whether that was it looked like a little bit of a glitch. It just didn't look like it was. That's what had happened. But by
That's
that,
definitely what happened.
Okay, no, 100%. But by that having happened, it was Peter Brunt who basically released himself and managed to go side by side and got himself into the front there. And he did pit pretty early, which, man, oh man, that was, I think, when you're out in front like that, I think you should have rather just stayed there and just started to try and apply some pressure there.
I agree. That was definitely my logic at the start. Try and just build a gap, see where the cards fall when everyone has a pit stop, and hopefully you've built up enough of a gap.
So, guys, it does look like that Carl's microphone is working. So,
hello,
Carl,
Dylan.
how are you doing,
guys.
sir?
I've been good. I've just been a little bit quiet. Didn't want to interrupt. I got a sent a WhatsApp telling me that this wonderful broadcast is on. So I thought I'd just pop in and try and sneak a little watch. But obviously you saw me try and sneak in here.
Well, what happens, it actually buzzes in my ear, so I know if somebody comes in. It's not like people can do it in secret.
Oh, I tried to pull a ninja move. I couldn't quite get it.
But you see, we do have a very open door policy, so if somebody wants to come and say how's it during our stream, you're more than welcome, as long as we're not interrupting something serious, like the guys are currently on their formation lap, so more than welcome to have you. How are things in the racing world for you?
Fantastic. Unfortunately, Sly Pete missed a bit of practice because we kept him at Formula K for a bit longer than we expected. But so
we're going to be blaming you for his performance this evening. Is that what you're saying, Carl?
I did not say that out loud. Did I say that out loud?
Carl, he's my teammate, and he's normally the one harassing me to go and practice, and I haven't heard a word from Pete since Monday.
Well, he did start with us on Thursday the 1st, so it is kind of my fault. RS car team is flat out in full force at the moment, so we've been at a race weekend, I think, back-to-back for the last 5 weekends, so it's been a little bit intense. I mean, I've even had to drop the sim grid commentary and all the international duties I had on with the sim stuff, just to focus on the business. But other than that, he's been moaning at me. He needs to get some time behind the wheel.
and because we're in different cars, I can't even give him my setups anymore, because that was his other get-out-of-jail card.
But I see we're all in the Porkies here in this series. A bit of a GT3 Porsche Cup vibe going on here.
Yeah. We've actually called it our Porsche Trophy Challenge, and we cut across the GT3s and the GT4s in the Bravo tier. Not sure if you managed to catch any of that action there, Carl.
Unfortunately not. I was busy dealing with some disk drive issues, but I've watched a little bit of the stuff on the stream. I watched about a lap or two. They do look a bit tricky though. It does look like the Porsche handling does move across throughout the sims.
Yeah, it definitely does. Alright, so the guys are in the race positions. So that is green lights, and we are racing here at Bruno. I keep saying Bruno, but it's Bruno. Bruno, not Bruno. Like Bruno Cuddly. Bruno Cuddly. So Craig, he leads the field as they come through turn number 2. Jake's in second place, and it is AD. It is Dirkie. That will be Brandon Hills in 5th place. Then Gavin, Robert, Lendl, Ross, Brandon DeSantos. Man, this is going to cause lots of troubles with the two Brandons together. And then a Sly Pete. But Craig already getting lots of pressure up front from the Black Mamba and Green Mamba. Those are the perfect colors for the Mamba team. Little look to the inside as he goes into turn number 5. Not enough space there for Jakes. But Craig, knowing that he's there, will possibly leave just enough space for Jakes to get through easily. You can see who I'm supporting this evening.
Yeah, you're not biased at all. It looks like Craig's struggling a little bit with tire temperature or something. He's just not got that turn in that Jake's has got. Jake's car seems a lot more positive on the turn in.
These cars do take a little time just to get up to speed. It takes a little time just to warm up the tires, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. It's much easier to follow in the first couple of laps because you can find where the braking spots are, and I think that's why Jake's. Oh, and that looks like Connor and Jerky may have come together, and that's dropped him way down the field. And Durkee's picked up a little bit of front damage here, but
Ash, what do you think that's gonna? Do you think that's gonna make a big difference to the front end of that car?
Actually, I had an incident at Brands Hatch where on the first couple of laps I drove in. I think it was Gavin, and that damaged my front bumper. And I actually didn't notice it until I was watching the stream where I saw the bumper was hanging off. So it's fortunately with these cars you won't really feel it too much, but you will have some slight difficulty with the handling, but you'll just have to drive around it.
Well, I do see that Connor and Ross have both decided to go into the pits, and I think that just get that aero damage sorted out to keep that downforce happening. If there's a suspension damage, that's going to take a little bit longer, but you can already see this pit a little bit longer than you would have wanted, but it didn't look like there was too much damage. It did only look like aero damage there for Connor.
I'm going to jump back to Craig because Jake's is again all over him.
So Carl, have you heard of something called Mamba Fever?
Whoa, full send. That was a proper full send dive down the inside. Absolutely stunning. Tries to go for the cutback now as they exit the right-hander, but Craig all over it. How was that for a cut to me, Dylan? I think, did you plan that? Did you send him a WhatsApp to let them know? He's still looking on the inside into the next one here, but a full-on dive shot for the front.
These guys are having a great time.
And all I wanted to know is, do you know what Mamba Fever is?
Well, clearly I've got it. Whatever it is, I've got it. We were mentioning that maybe Craig was struggling with a bit of front end, but it looks like he's almost just got a slower turn, and he runs what we call an arc as opposed to V'ing up the corner, whereas Jake seems to like to V the corner up, so drive it in straight to the apex on the brakes. But you can actually see where the gain and the losses are. I mean, in a hairpin like that, Craig seems to get more of a drive out, whereas Jake's almost gets it onto him before the apex. But that's what I'm talking about.
Almost.
That was close. Damn.
He seems to be making his lap quite a bit longer. The sort of arc he's running around those long corners. He really does seem to be making his life a little bit more difficult.
Look how close those lap times were, guys. 2 minutes to 0.02.04, and that's how close they are. That's just insane, absolutely insane.
Yeah, but you were saying, he's making the arc so much longer and losing the time going, making the lap longer. But if you look at his drive out of every corner, it is definitely working for him in certain sections. But the way that car's darting around, it's almost like he's running on a controller at the moment. But, I think a mixture between the two lines on a circuit like this would be beneficial. But it just allows that full send moment for Jake's down the inside that we managed to witness at least twice there. And get the heart rate going and the voice pitch a little bit higher.
And it's the moments like that that the commentators look for. Commentators' dream.
Jeez, I'm almost too scared to go away from this battle, but I see Sly Pete and Lendl are having a bit of a dice as well.
And not only that, but Lendl is right up the back of Brandon.
So a three-way dice there.
Yeah, it does look like it.
There we go. So that's Brandon Dos Santos, Lendl, and then Sly Pete.
Brandon Dos Santos is on a controller, and this guy does a phenomenal job on a controller.
Yeah, we saw him in the vintage class with the BMW in the wets, and he was right up until in the podium positions. So a fantastic job he did do there on Monday nights, and join the guys here again. And,
well, if Emerson Fittipaldi can win a Formula 1 Legends race on a controller,
True story. True story. I actually watched that race.
I'm so excited to see Brandon on a steering wheel. I really, really am. I don't think he's going to sleep for about a week when he gets a steering wheel.
Well, there's a big run here from Jake, so going into turn 1. It looked like he got great that corner there into down onto the main straight, but it just doesn't seem like the aero or the slipstream effect is as great as what I'm used to watching the other platform, which name I shall not mention.
No, you can talk about Assetto Corsa. We also play that here as well, Carl.
Okay, cool. Just don't want to hear. I got a €25 fine for saying that in SimGrid, so I'm a little bit more cautious of saying
No. Here we're very pro community as Craig goes wide. He spins it around, and that, Ashley, is the result of Mamba Fever.
So, it looks like Craig has been struggling with a bit of grip and maybe just that different line that he's been approaching. And that's exactly what Jakes has been waiting for, just to have a mistake, and it's put him now up in front. But you were talking about the slipstream. These cars don't really have a great advantage when you get a slipstream. I noticed that, especially at the Monza circuit, that it's not really a massive advantage.
I mean, that should be Slipstream City, that place.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not too sure if it's just the type of downforce you have with these vehicles, but it's definitely, you don't get the same slipstream as you would get with other formulas.
It is interesting.
I don't know if the aero effect of a GT3 car is as heavy, but I mean, if you watch in IRL, there is a massive. I mean, a move like that Jake's had on Craig onto the main straight, and the run he got on the exit, the slipstream should have really just sucked them through. So I don't know if it's something that they've lowered down just to allow a more closer race. Oh, big slide there, big moment, and that is where the Porsche bites you on the exit of the corner, on the gas, a little bit oversteer, and visit the hedge, my mate.
A bit of commentators curse about talking how well he's doing on the controller. We stuffed that one up.
Who said that about Brandon? Come on, guys.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but let's not forget that he's not used to driving the GT3. The GT3 has got a lot more power than GT4 that he's been used to. So, especially on the controller, to handle the throttle, you've got to be very delicate, and we can't blame him too much for that unfortunate mistake.
So that's Brandon Hills into the pits. So I must just remember to take down the notice of that. That is just one of the downfalls that we have, is that we can't just bring up the pit menu to see who has pitted. Is that it all is done manually, and that was just the 6-second stop. So a little splash and dash, and Brandon Hills is back on the track.
Well, we saw him have that spin. I was wondering if he had any damage or would pick up any issues, but I think he managed to get into the middle of it, and the other guys got the damage by hitting each other.
So this is Dirkie chasing down Ross, our Scottish international, as we say that. No, Ross.
Dirkie is having a torrid evening.
Ross being ever the gentleman, though, giving him the spot after that, though. He could have just jumped on the gas and got his spot back, but he actually gave it back. So that was some gentleman driving there from Ross, a bit of an apology.
I know how Ross gets when he makes a mistake. I'm sure the in-game chat must have been really interesting at that point.
And all they've done is they've just allowed Brandon Hills now to close up on the back of them. And this is now Sly Pete closing up on Gavin. But there's Brandon DeSantos now right on the back of Pete. So lots of close. You can see how that rear steps out. Unfortunately, not able to catch it. But
that's not Mamba fever. That's Rough Rider fever. And
no, that's
teammates push each other off.
That's not a thing. That those oaks should have had a little chat there before the race. Clearly.
It looked like they were going to have some synchronizing though. Looked like they were having a bit of a synchronized moment there for a second, but Sly Pete was the one that came off second best there and lost it on the tank slapper, because it looked like both of them lost it going in there.
Yeah, sympathy spin.
At the front of the field, and Roberts actually moved himself up into third position, so he's having a pretty strong race.
Yeah, and Lendl just behind him as well. He's also played himself up from quite a long way down. But I suppose we'll have to see how it shakes up once everyone's had a pit stop.
And that's the beauty about these pit stop, and we keep talking about them, but all it does is it just brings everybody back together, and it is absolutely fantastic. Considering we had 4th place to 7th place within 3 or 4 seconds of each other in the Bravo tier, it's just incredible.
I don't think Andrew's gonna have any memory of that, because I mean he was so far ahead of everybody else. There was nobody really,
that was Gavin nearly getting it wrong coming out of turn number 7, but now he'll head down into turn number 8, and just behind him, that is Brandon DeSantos starting to get that momentum once again.
Yeah, he's pitted as well, so that's he's now sort of in a genuine position, I think.
And we paused there you go. Awesome.
Sorry, I did push the wrong button, and for some reason it turned off all the stuff that I had in front of me. That's what I needed. Thank you very much. So we are back.
So Jakes has got a good lead on everybody here. He's 5 seconds is a nice comfortable gap, and he seems to be eking it out a little bit more, little bit each lap. So.
Well, having said that, he was slightly slow on that last lap than Craig.
Craig, look at that, 2:01.5. So that's definitely going to be playing well into Craig's hands, knowing that he is currently going faster than Jakes. But again, will he be able to catch him?
So what if Craig's setup was maybe suited better for a lower fuel run? And maybe he's got a different strategy.
Yeah, he's got about half a tank now, almost, or half of whatever he started with. So
that's right. So he's now finding a better rhythm, and maybe his driving style is sort of suiting it better. That's Connor having a look at Craig. Ross.
That's what is it? No, that's not where Ross lost the last lap.
That was a look. In all fairness, that was an absolute fantastic save. He had run out of all the real estate, and somehow he kept that all together. But he's still holding the field. Oh, big turn! Cut the nose off. Oh, contact! How? Right, Formula E is your next series. You guys should be running Formula Drift. Formula Drift should be run as your next series. I vote Formula Drift next series because this man's going to take the cake in that one. Absolute brilliant going again.
That's where you lost it.
There we go.
Just overcommitting into that corner.
Yeah.
I must ask a question, having watched what's been going on throughout this and towards these 3 laps. Tire degradation in this is it quite a massive effect? Because it seems like a lot of the guys are getting a little bit more and more tail happy, a little bit more understeer, and just the cars are just becoming unruly after 5-6 laps.
Certainly towards the end of the race, the circuit does feel a lot more greasier. That you'll see the lap times will drop down a bit. But none of these guys will be changing tires. I seriously doubt they would be. I mean, you would lose so much time that it's almost not worth it going to the pits and get a tire. So a lot of them will end on the tires that they started with. But the last 5 minutes does get a little bit tricky, and you'll see that towards the end of the race. Again. Craig, a quicker on that lap than Jake's, almost a second quicker, and he's brought that gap way down.
And I just wanted to note we've lost Brandon DeSantos again in a disconnection, and he has taken somebody with him, and I think it was Steven.
It does look like it, yeah. I think this track with the long sort of flowing corners really does stress the tires a lot more. I mean, Oschersleben last week was fairly heavy on tires, but this place, certainly on that GT4, you had to be really careful with your setup to make sure that you weren't sort of cooking the inside sort of section of the tire. And certainly the drop off from your first 3 or 4 laps, going forward from there was significant. In quali you weren't going to get 3 or 4 laps out of the tires, that's for sure.
No, I'm just having a look though at the front pack. I mean, they were running 201, I think it was 201s in the first 3 laps. And Craig seems to have stayed in the 201 area. I mean, he's brought the gap down to 3.6. Whereas Jakes is dropping lower and lower, into the 202s, where he was sitting in 201. So I think he, in terms of setup and degradation and how these cars are set up for fuel load, Jakes I think is definitely on the other end of the spectrum as opposed to Craig.
All right, guys. Sorry, I've just got a message on the YouTube link, and it is Gavin. Brandon took Gavin with him, so man, oh man.
Then what happened to Steven? Is Steven still there? Steven is not there.
So that is the current positions. Jakes is ahead with Craig second. Then it is Robert, Lendl, Pete, Dirkie, Connor, Brandon.
Craig's got into the pits now.
Yeah, I cut away from that. Sorry, Dor. I'll go back to it now.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
So with Craig going into the pits, that's going to allow Robert to move himself up into second place. And it all depends on whether Lendl will be able to get ahead of him. I just hate why it doesn't really... there's Lendl there. So Craig has been able to get himself ahead of Lendl after the pits. So at least he's not going to have some traffic to fight after that pit.
Yeah, but judging from the Bravo tier pit stops, I think you said Dylan around
just about 20 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
So that gap between himself and Jake's now sitting at 29 seconds, 30 seconds. But I mean, that's also excluding. I don't think it's including the entry into the pit lane, because you lose quite a bit of time there as well.
It looks like that was close. That could have ended Robert's evening.
So
that would have slowed down Robert a little bit.
If you look at the front of Robert's car, it's got a bit of...
But now that's Pete who's he's moved ahead. Look, Pete's moved ahead of Robert.
Absolutely. So something's happened there, because we know that Robert was in second position, and Craig came out in third, and now Craig's up into second.
If you have a look at the front of Robert's car, it's suddenly got some damage. I wonder if he hasn't had a spin somewhere. Jakes is in the pits.
It's be interesting to see what happens at the front, because it definitely looked like Craig had the pace on Jakes, so coming in earlier, maybe getting the undercuts on undercut on Jakes.
Yo, that made me very, very nervous. So you can see those are wet tires in that pit crew's hand. It's like, what? That would ruin everything. So there's Jakes just leaving the pits, and here comes Craig. So it's actually going to be closer than we think. Not really. So 5 seconds.
Yeah, right back to... It was down to 3, so all the hard work that Craig did before he stopped is negated now. So Jake's just getting a faster stop down there.
I think he had a bit of traffic there, maybe possibly from Robert spinning ahead, and that may have slowed him down a bit.
His stop also looked a little bit slower than Jake's. I wonder if he didn't put a couple more liters of fuel in than Jake's did.
Quite possible. Or he changed the tires, but we didn't see any of the mechanics moving around the car at all. So
Robert's done his pit stop. Dropped him way down.
But we did see that he had that little moment and possible moment, and that's probably what's dropped him so far down the field.
I don't think Pete's pitted, has he?
So according to my list, no, he has not.
This is Pete's favorite trick. He does this every week. He gets himself way up the order, and then he pits and gets us all excited. Although if you look at the time he's likely to lose, he'll be probably in 4th after a pit stop.
At least he looks like a hero for just that short period of time.
You can say I was running in 3rd.
Great job, Pete. Great job.
Jakes has picked up the time penalty there. Andrew, could you bring up the timing so I could just see what...
10
seconds. Speeding into the pits.
Speeding in the pits. Yep.
How many times do we see Jakes doing that?
And that could explain why there was such a huge
A
gap.
discrepancy, yeah.
Yeah, so Craig would have noticed that, and he knows now that he's just got to keep that gap within less than 10 seconds, and we'll have this race.
I'll be honest with you, that's so distracting as a driver, especially the chasing driver. You only got to stay within a certain time, and if the guy starts eking it out or getting close to that 10 seconds, it's so easy to start making mistakes and overdriving a car. But as the driver in the lead, you've got to build up 7 seconds over the course of the race. It becomes such a game between the two of them.
Well, that was the interesting pit stop.
Yeah.
Did Lendl just go to someone else?
You went to the wrong pits.
Come on, Lewis. Come on.
Oh, Lendl, that's
we have
amazing.
seen that in Formula 1 too. We've seen a couple of drivers going into the wrong pits. I mean that's clear as daylight. So
This is a very slow stop as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we may have been fixing some damage there,
So-
some sort.
Terry Wilford has just joined us on the stream. How's it, Terry? And he's saying that's a Mamba penalty.
Yeah, how's that Mamba fever now, bro?
Yes, Craig is absolutely killing it because you can see 201 there for Craig, so he's definitely closing up. So he's now within 3 seconds of Jake's. Come on, my Jakes.
I'm sure Craig's going to try and have a bit of a battle with Jake's, even though there's a time penalty, just because it's good fun.
No, I'm sure he doesn't want to finish this race behind anyone. I know he's a bit of a sore loser. So
Yes, talk about dissing your mate. You guys race cards together, eh?
It's true. No, I'm just saying that he's definitely going to be fighting for to get ahead of Jakes, and I'm sure Jakes would appreciate that as well.
Ooh, Jake's was much slower that lap.
Yeah, the gap's down to 2.5 now, so he lost over a second in the last lap.
I think Jake's has made the error of not sort of setting this Porsche up with heavy fuel, and you'll probably find the understeers creeping in now that the front's getting light with the fuel burning.
Yeah, we did see that in the beginning that Craig was struggling with the heavier load, and now we can see the difference as you were saying.
It's all about finding that perfect balance, and for me, I like to have a really good middle section. I'm happy to struggle in the beginning of the race because the field's still close, it's still tight. But I just know specifically in my ACC Porsche, once that thing gets within that 60 liters, man oh man, that thing just comes alive.
It's those cool SARCO stripes you've got on there.
That's
all
exactly
it is.
what it is. That's
Nothing
exactly
to do with the setup.
I gotta be honest, these Porsches are always the fastest thing on any circuit, but at any given moment they can just bite you. You could be doing the same lap, braking the same point, turning it in the same place, getting on the power in the same place. Next thing you know, you're facing the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
They are
We saw
extremely
that,
tricky to drive.
Yeah. It's Zolder, in particular, that first corner. Man, oh man. That car does not like that first corner, especially when it starts getting a little bit damp. That was one of the races where we had a bit of rain halfway through the race, and that car was basically a different animal on the track.
The other place it doesn't like is Kyle Army. You come down the mine shaft through that left-hand sweep, and then you got to get on the brakes for the right hand. And if you've got just a little bit of steering lock on that thing when you get on the brakes.
What do you mean on the brakes? You don't touch the brakes going down there.
No, coming out of the corner. Out of the left as you get on the brakes for the right. If you've got any steering input there, you're going to have a fix.
Oh, got you.
Don't touch the brakes there, don't be silly.
I thought you were talking about that killer curb corner there, cheetah.
The sausage of death.
Yeah, don't.
The sausage of death.
Don't break there. What you need to do there is bring your preload down, Andrew, and just keep your acceleration going. You'll be fine.
Graham Hepburn a few years ago in the Formula Ford hit that sausage curb and then collected the concrete wall on the outside and I think they picked the drive shaft up behind the pits somewhere. That's how far that flew. It was a good one.
So this is Robert starting to close up on the back of Brandon Hills. Robert in the very red livery.
What did you think of Brandon Hills' keep warm methods in Velcom?
Oh, very, very good.
Friday.
Very, very good. It kept me very warm as well. I must say I did bump my head when I woke up in the morning just a little bit. But I must just be careful of the low-hanging fruit there.
Rob seems to be giving Brandon Hills a bit of a keep warm himself there. He's getting close enough to give the guy a cuddle. So I think there's a bit of a race going on here between these two. I think you're going to see a little bit of excitement between these two hopefully coming up soon.
Yeah, let's hope so. Robert's really come on leaps and bounds. Going from Bravo, he's made the step up to Alpha, and he's doing a reasonable job. He's, a couple of little mistakes here and there, but he races nicely and he puts in some good results, hey?
Yeah.
If we concur with that, we've seen him. I raced with him a couple of times, and in the very early stages, he was battling a bit. But recently, man, he's come.
Whoa! There's the move.
He's got him.
Mistake by Brandon, and Robert was there just to pounce and take the place. Very, very easy there.
He's just very consistent, and
yeah, exactly.
He did have a little bit of a moment there, but he manages to consistently put in the good laps, and I think that's what's helped him.
I think the bug is bitten hard with Robert. I think he puts a lot of time and energy, which is actually really cool to see. It's nice to see him up there.
This sort of sim racing is definitely. I try and avoid calling it, gaming or virtual race. It is. It's a simulator of any race, and it's bitten me so hard. And I look in all the leagues that we race in, and the names that are there. Hildebrand currently competed in the KZ World Championship recently. He races religiously. You got Gerald Ferree, Leighton Ferree, Keegan Masters. All the top names that we know from the real world. I thought they'd go back to real world racing after COVID, but they're still there week in and week out, racing on their sims and enjoying it and absolutely loving it. So it's just testament to how close this is and how addictive it can get.
Yeah.
I think it also, Dylan and I were having this debate last week, and I think it teaches you to concentrate for the longer periods. And while your reactions and your feel when you get into a real car is different, you've learned to concentrate on the important stuff, consistent braking points, hitting the apex, all of that sort of stuff. I think that really does transfer across to the real world nicely. It's from that point of view, it's perfect.
Yep.
The one thing I use it for quite often now, and a lot of my drivers have actually gone and bought themselves PCs to do this, and especially with sims like Kart Racing Pro, and that is hand movement for a youngster moving from a cadet to a bigger kart. Their hand movements are always too fast, they're too jerky on the steering wheel, and they struggle to get used to the speed. Once I put them into the sim and I can drive with them in the virtual world and watch their hand movements live, to correct it is so easy, and it's become such a great tool for us to use with younger kids moving forward in classes. It's phenomenal how much you can do with this sort of technology nowadays.
And cheaper than the amount of track time you'd probably have to put in, because for you to sit on the sidelines and get him to do it from there is probably a little bit harder than getting him to do it in front of you on a PC or a PlayStation or whatever the case may be.
110%, and you can spend a full hour with him on the track, whereas I can spend 10 minutes every 30 minutes. Oh, mistake there from Craig.
Cheers, Craig.
Another on the gas. Is that going to drop him outside of 10 seconds though? That's the important question.
Well, he's going to be fighting to make sure that he doesn't, because he's only got 7 minutes left, and you can see now, Carl, the other thing that's happening, you can see that the sun is starting to set. So what's happening is that the track is getting colder. So the guys, was also about the tire pressure and what tire pressures are they running to overcome this.
Yeah, and also those tires will be starting to get a little tired. You can see Craig getting a little bit sideways through that, but we know he's been pushing for the last couple of laps, getting those times way down, and I think maybe just pushing a little bit too hard. Going for that, trying to get that overtake, even though he's got that advantage, and unfortunately now that's dropped him back. But he still has 4 seconds in the bag, or maybe less than.
Yeah, but 3
seconds
seconds
at the
now.
moment. Yeah.
So I do see that Vaughan Hills he's just dropped in to say that he's made it. We know that he was working late, otherwise he would have been racing in this race this evening. And he's saying he's sorry that he missed the race. Lucky for the guys driving that he missed it, otherwise he would be winning. But it's very, very positive there, Vaughan. Great to see it.
So you can't be the fastest hills on the planet if you aren't in the race.
Well, oh, there we go. Sly Pete into the pit. So this is going to show where he falls down. And you know what, Carl, it's actually so strange is that I've known Peter for I don't know how many years in the karting, but since coming to the sim world, all of a sudden I now know him as Sly Pete and not Peter. It's just so weird.
Our customers in the race team are starting to call him Sly Pete as well. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's become his name all around. He used to be called Uncle Pete by all the drivers that we had in the team. Then I start calling him Sly Pete. So the name has stuck, and we're gonna hang on to it. But I saw he had quite a big gap over what was then fourth, but is now third. And that advantage disappeared very quickly. I think it was
because of the pit stop.
Yeah, but prior to the pit stop, he had almost 6 or 8, 10 seconds on the person behind him, and they were pretty much on the same second when he came in. So I don't know if he made a mistake.
But Jerky and Eddie, Connor, are big drivers, and they should actually be fighting for top positions at the moment, and they've done well to come back. As we saw in the earlier parts of the race, they two of them came together and
they pitted really early. So Connor pitted. He was the second driver to pit, and Durkee was the third driver to pit.
That's it.
Yeah, Durkee's a relentless competitor. Hey, he really is. He does a good job in whatever he races.
Fierce competitor. Jeez, I've had many battles with him.
I'll agree with that. 100%.
In the past, and I promise you, he's I think one of the most fierce competitors I've raced against.
So in shot is currently the fastest Hills on the planet. Brandon Hills is fighting here for 5th place. And he does have a Robert behind him, and just behind Robert, that is Sly Pete. So you can see that these guys, and we saw Brandon run a little bit wide there earlier on, and that gave Robert the advantage. He was able to slip it on the inside. Title of your sex tape. But Pete is starting to close up.
Come on, Dylan, finish your sentence.
Starting to close up on this group ahead of him.
Dylan, are you blushing? There's an interesting shade of red there.
I am, yes.
Do you think you can call a sex tape Mamba Fever? I suppose you could actually. Without a doubt, that would be yours.
I'm pretty sure we can.
I just want to talk quickly about the racing. It looks like Sly Pete's got a bit of pace here to hang up with I think it's Robert there in front of him, in front of that Brandon as well. So he does look like he's got the pace to hang with these three. So maybe we'll see a 3-car battle here for the minor pickings in the group.
Thank God Kyle was here to drag us back onto the stage.
Thank you, Carl.
We knew why. That's why you came.
Thank you, Carl.
That's also the title of my sex tape.
So out front is the lead member of the video.
From now, that's a whole nother video.
And Jake's Fatikaki exiting out of turn number 14. So he will cross the line with just over 2 minutes. So we should be able to get in this lap plus one more. And there's Craig in the background still hanging on within 7 seconds. We do know that Jake's has 10-second penalty that will be added onto his time at the end there. And if Jake's does not find 3 seconds, unfortunately, that will be all she wrote.
We'll move down the inside for Robert here.
Yeah.
Nicely done. It was a good move actually. Nice and easy down the inside. He doesn't run.
He's coming
too far
back
wide. Oh, is he aware that he's there? He's in the room, but is the cut back on? That's the question. It's a left and a right.
It's so tricky here through turns number 8 and 9 because that corner just falls away from you, and if you don't get that turn in just right, it is so tricky to get that power back on.
Yeah, the throttle application there makes a huge difference because you got that long run to the next corner. I don't think Brandon's going to give this one up so easily, though.
Not at all. You can see the real life experience there, the way he's winding it up to get the run down the straight. He's got the inside line into turn 1 though, so it's going to be a brave move on the brakes. He hasn't got alongside him just yet, so he's going to have to do it on the brakes. He's got it down into the apex, but is he going to run wide on the exit?
No,
a little bit too clever for that.
Robert tried to just turn in a little bit sooner, but he looked like he had outbraked himself. But he is still not out of it. We still have the next couple of corners, and if he is ahead of him by the time they get into turn number 6, I think Brandon will be able to hold on to this position because he has the opportunity for him to go into the inside here. Not close enough.
Yeah, Sly Pete, just watching from the distance there, just hoping there's a little bit of tripping over each other, I think, and he can grab himself back 2 places and get himself into the top 5 again. But it looks like Brandon, though, pulling a 2-car length gap here with just over 11 seconds to go. I think Brandon's got this one tied up if he can keep it neat and tidy.
Yeah, I think you'll find Robert is struggling with that left front tire. It looks like he's understeering quite badly there. They were taking some punishment. So I think at this stage of the race, you might just be hanging on.
So guys, I have seen a message from Brandon Dos Santos up on the Facebook page saying, sorry guys, he disconnected and apologies if he took somebody with him. Brandon, unfortunately, yes, you did take Gavin with you. We'll just have to see how we're able to eliminate that going forward.
I know he's tried so hard to sort that connection out. Robert's making a play back. He's caught back up again. I think anything could happen here with a couple of corners to go. Or do these guys have a whole nother lap to go?
So they have another lap to go, that is correct. If we can just jump to Jake's there, Andrew, and then we'll know exactly where Jake's is. Yep, so that is Jake's now going through turn number 7. So this is Jake's last lap, so exactly. Brandon and Robert will still need to do an entire lap after the one that they're currently on, because here they go now down the start-finish line, and that is Brandon, Robert, Sly Pete and Lendl in the background there. So still these 4 places, anything can happen in terms of where these guys finish.
Yeah, Lendl got almost over a second on the 2 cars in front of him, so he's definitely quite a bit quicker. So you'll be looking for a way past the Sly Pete now with only a lap to go. And hopefully he's picked up a little bit being around old Luke Hill there, that he can use some of that defensive driving that Luke Hill's got, and hopefully keep him behind him.
I don't think Pete's going to give that position up on the last lap.
No.
He's going to block and weave and do whatever he can. The widest Porsche ever known.
So tomorrow's going to be a great day of work for him if he finishes last, I can tell you that for free.
Oh my goodness.
That's a great day for you.
Not so much for him. And there's a race winner. Jakes crosses the line. While he crosses the line first, remember the fastest doesn't always win here at SARCO.
And as we know, that Jake said that 10-second penalty, and that's given Craig the win. He was kept that 7 seconds. And this is the battle for 6.
It's getting interesting here between these two.
5th, should I say?
Let's just hope it doesn't get too desperate with like a crazy all 4 wheels locked and throw the car at him and hope he gets out the way.
Oh, was I the only one hoping for that?
I think so.
Oh, here comes Lendl. He's got the run up on the back of Pete, coming up turn number 12. So we dice into turn number 13. Lendl's going to try go around the outside, which will put him on the inside for 14. Yo, I think that was very, very cheeky there for Lendl. That he just threw the car in there. Wow.
That was an awesome battle right with these 4 guys towards the end there. And Sly Pete disconnected. Has he crossed the line?
No. He is still there. It's because remember that would have been during the practice that would have happened.
Okay.
So he definitely still gets that place. We'll just get the guys from the lobby into the Discord.
Yeah, sorry about Pete tomorrow at work, Carl. That's going to be rough.
I'm enjoying it. Don't worry.
Yeah, sorry,
You gonna
Pete.
teach him some defensive moves there, or what?
He's supposed to be one of our driver coaches. I'm gonna have to just have a discussion there with.
So Lynn, I just want to
Okay.
point out those best times there by Craig and Jake's almost nothing in it.
Yes, look at that.
3,000th of a second.
Absolutely phenomenal. For them to finish within 6 seconds of each other with the mistakes that Craig made and over that race distance is still, a testament to the two drivers that they can be that close together after that long, to concentrate for that long. I know a lot of people watching think it's just a game. It's not. It takes a lot out of you to sit there and concentrate for as long as they do.
Okay, guys, we're just getting the podium winners up into our Discord. Just gotta get rid of some. So, Ash, we're just gonna drop those the images there. We're just gonna get Dirkie and Jake's, and I believe there's quite an interesting bet happening this weekend on Sunday between my cousin Memo and Jake's. If Memo beats Jake's around Kalami in ACC, Jake's needs to shave his goatee.
What does Memo have to do if Jakes beats him?
Well, Memo said that he will give Jakes his house in the island of Eos for the weekend. Jakes must just get there.
That seems like a fair bet.
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, I wouldn't be unhappy with that.
Get there, like half across the planet.
All right, guys. Welcome. Jake's just stroking the little Bart there. Let's start off
for Memo. That's for Memo.
You see, we know. Let's start off with you, Dirkie. A little bit of an incident earlier on there for you, but managed to hold it together and pitted nice and early. Just get those laps in nice and consistently, and managed to get yourself on the podium.
Yeah, I think you've missed one. I've actually hit two cars. I've
Ross
hit Eddie,
and Ross.
and later on I've hit Pete. And
It was
so-
Ross that you hit because
Ross?
he went in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, I've hit Ross and Pete.
Don't worry, we saw
so
them both.
Oh, did you? And I thought, that was the end of my race. And I've just put my head down. I put in the laps one by one. I think I had very consistent laps. Because I could see my time differences was very small, from my base lap all the time. So I was happy with that. And on the end of the day, Eddie was chasing me, and I was just watching his space behind me and just keep that on about 3 seconds, and took it home because I knew I was too far away from the other two. So yes, I'm very happy with my third place, considering everything that happened in the race. I'm very happy.
No, awesome, great result
And
there for you.
Congratulations, Craig. First place was waiting for you for a long time, eh?
Jake's had to make a mistake for it, but yeah, I'll take
That's
it.
the way the cookie crumbles.
So, my Jakes, we do talk about one of the philosophies here at SARCO that the fastest doesn't always win. There you cross the line in first place, but unfortunately a 10-second penalty. And that's not the first time you've hit a 10-second penalty in the series.
Yes, we must take the pit stops out of the equation now because this is killing me. No, this is the second time in a row I've made a mistake with the pit stop and giving me 10 seconds penalty. And I knew I wouldn't increase the gap between me and Craig because he was bloody fast tonight. And as a matter of fact, he was a little bit faster than me. So I knew when he was 7 seconds behind me, I knew I'm gonna have to take the second place, but I'm still happy. The championship points is actually the one that's matter for me, and I've upped the points there. But so I'm happy. I'm happy. It was a nice battle between me and Craig in the beginning there. Yesterday, that was awesome, Craig. Thanks, man. Nice clean racing there, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Get that one up.
Yeah.
Awesome, great drive there, Jakes. And just before we move on to Craig, I just want to know, this bet that you have with Memo this coming Sunday, is this legit? If he beats you, you're going to be shaving your goatee.
Yes, that's absolutely legit. So I'm gonna race my butt off this summer. To lose my goatee.
So the goatee's safe, basically.
Jake's is going to go and break the lap record at Kyalami now. Wait for it.
My Jake's 139.97 is my fastest time there. Good luck.
Fastest doesn't always win, Dylan. You know that.
We've just seen it. Thank you, Jakes. Then let's go to you, Craig. A win is a win. Yes, you were definitely catching Jakes, but a little mistake there. We landed up catching you doing your little pirouette, and it only cost you 7 seconds, but just enough for you to take that win.
Yeah, I think I had a bit of a brain fart going into that corner. I'm normally in third, changing down to second, and I hadn't changed up to third, so when I grabbed the gear to go down, it went into first. And that was a bit frustrating because I was catching. But yeah, other than that, in the beginning, I think Jake's and our setup is very close speed-wise, but very different in the way we make the speed. And I tried to drive to his setup, especially in the braking zones, and that's where I made that first mistake, where I think my car's just slightly better on the traction more than the entry into the corner.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah,
did see that
very
you
good
had
race.
quite a bit of understeer, where Jakes was able to get that car turned in nice and quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just looked like
exits are better with the yeah. So it's yeah, different. Like I said, different way of getting the speed, but very close setup overall. Yeah, just a hell of a lot of fun. I would have liked to have done it on track, but the points is what counts. I know Dirkie is very close to me, or might have passed me. I haven't seen the latest points. So the goal was, in fact, to beat him more than anything else. But the points for the win will definitely help.
100%. So we'll get a view of what is happening in those points this coming weekend. So guys, thank you very much. So that was round number 7. And just remember, we do have one more round of this championship. And now that I'm saying that, we move to possibly one of the most challenging tracks of the series. And we head to Long Beach for the final round of the Porsche Trophy Challenge. Really looking forward to that next week.
It's going to be tough.
Thanks, guys. Good racing. We'll do it again in a week.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddies.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye-bye.
And then a big thank you to the guys at home helped us this evening. Gerard, for jumping into that director's role. Thank you, Gerard. Really do appreciate it. As well as Andrew Horn again, directing and joining with the commentary. Ashley.
Only a pleasure, Dale.
Thank you once again. And Carl, thanks so much for coming to visit and saying how. And being a part of the SARCO family. Why not?
I had an absolute joy with you guys. I think I need to go get myself a PS4 though and come play on track.
And the thing
You will not regret that move.
Carl, you don't have to go far. I'm just in Sunning Hill, and there is a PlayStation here. If you do want to come and try it out, you're more than welcome.
Okay, cool. I'll see you Thursday night then.
Fantastic.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much.
Cool. So, guys, thank you very much to everyone that has assisted this evening. Don't forget that this season is brought to you by Thrustmaster. We will be back next week, Thursday. But then don't forget that on Monday, we do have the round number 7 of our vintage touring cars. And that is to Oschersleben A course. There was a little bit of confusion. I was so convinced that it was B. But having checked the website, and that is sarcoracing.co.za, that confirmed that we had set it to the A course. So looking forward to that. And I do think that those Fords might get a little bit of an advantage there. But that long straight is going to be that equalizer once again. So really looking forward to that. So guys, thank you very much. Have a fantastic evening. And we'll see you in the upcoming races.
Thanks so much, Dylan. Thanks so much, everybody. It was good fun.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you very much. Until then, keep racing, and thanks for watching. Yos.